My name is Tori Cook. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Chorus Connection. Today we're going to be talking about ticket sales fundamentals, everything you need to know and think about when you're growing your audience. It's an expansion of a recent blog that I posted, which I'll ask Kenny to probably drop a link in there for you to see. You can follow along if you'd like, but I'll be talking just a little bit more about the nitty-gritty of how to do everything from that blog. This is my second Facebook Live training, so I'm still learning and encourage all the feedback that you have, and I will keep getting better. So the format of today's session is that I'll spend about 30 to maybe 40 minutes talking about ticket sales fundamentals. I'll do a wrap-up of the key takeaways, and then at the end we'll open it up for a question and answer session. My colleague Kenny, that you can see in the comments, is here. He's going to be monitoring any questions that you have, passing them along to me throughout the process, and we'll address those at the end. So feel free to drop any questions you have in the comments. He'll also be dropping some helpful resources and links along the way, various blog posts and everything like that. So feel free to check those out whenever you have time. So I'm going to go ahead and dig right in. Very quick introduction for those of you who don't know me. I am Tori Cook. I am the outgoing president of Chorus Pro Musica. It's a 70-year-old organization in Boston. I've been their president for about 2 years, and we've done a lot on the ticket sales front. Just to give you a few quick stats, for the last 2 years, we've surpassed all of our annual ticket sales goals. We've reached at least 90% capacity for all of our performances, with several of them being sold out houses. One concert in particular was actually a new commissioned work, and we had projected a certain amount in ticket sales revenue, and we had through our marketing efforts tripled that revenue, bringing in over $30,000 for that particular concert. Over this time, we've carefully analyzed our marketing efforts, and we've saved thousands of dollars on marketing efforts that weren't fruitful in our ticket sales endeavors. And we've also implemented an online ticketing solution, which has helped us save time, save our staff time on managing the box office and all of the things that go along with selling tickets. So we've also been able to save time and money there. So I'm here today to talk to you about essentially what are the fundamentals that you need to know in order to be successful at ticket sales. So the first thing that I want to address is really understanding your target market. This is really important for a variety of reasons. Your target market is really going to influence everything from deciding the price of your tickets, deciding the venue that you want to perform in, deciding the date and time of the performance, and even deciding the program. Really keeping your target audience in mind is important for making those decisions. So if the gist is that if you know who your target audience is and what they want and what they need, then you're going to be able to provide them with what they want. And because of that, you're going to see a boost in ticket sales. So that's why it's really important to know who your target market is. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how do you find out who your target market is and how do you gather that data. So the first thing is your target audience and your target market is really the people who are already coming to your concerts. They're already your singers, they're already your donors or patrons or email subscribers. You already have these people, they're there for you. You just have to get to know them and understand them. So how do you do that? The very bare minimum basic thing that you should be doing as much as possible is meeting face-to-face, one-on-one with as many audience members as you can, as many of your ticket buyers, donors, members, everything like that. You can do that through obviously things like in the lobby of the house, making sure that people are there to greet them and ask them questions, see why they came to the concert, having pre or post-concert receptions, doing as much individual reach outs as you can. Call them from time to time after a performance. Send them a personal email, especially if they're someone who's been coming in a lot. So I would say that's bare minimum, just basic getting to know people, building personal relationships as much as you can throughout the process. At every point in the process, find a way to engage with your audience one-on-one. But engaging with them one-on-one is very like anecdotal. You're not gonna be like sitting and gathering data points and being able to report on that later. So there are other ways that you can gather data about your audience that are going to give you an opportunity to analyze and report on that data. There's a few ways that you can collect data from your audience members. The first is on your ticket buyer form. So many of us, when we sell tickets, we, at the bare minimum, collect first name, last name, and probably email address, how many tickets they want, everything like that. That's really useful information to have at a bare minimum. Some other questions that you might want to experiment with on your ticket buying forms, whether they be paper or online, is really demographic information. I always recommend to keep this optional because it can be sensitive information for some, but the more demographic information you can collect, the more you'll get to understand kind of the makeup of your audience. So these are questions like age, income bracket, ethnicity, where they live, those kinds of questions. So I highly recommend, popping in 1 or 2 of those on some of your ticket buyer forms so that later you can analyze the makeup of your audience. So that's one way you can collect data. Another great way that you can collect data is through surveys. You could do an annual survey of all of your audiences. You could do a survey after every single concert if you'd like. And in these surveys, you want to learn as much as you can about your audience that's possible. So you can ask them really any range of questions for answers that you need to get. It could be, what was your most favorite thing about coming to this concert? It could be, how much did you pay for tickets? Did you find the value worthwhile? Would you pay more for tickets? These types of questions are really, really helpful at just gauging whether people are enjoying the programming that you're putting on, whether they're finding great value of the performance. You can also toss in some demographic questions here as well, which can help kind of think through whether, the makeup of certain groups of people. Let's take age. Maybe you have 2 different age groups coming to your concerts. How did they feel about the programming? How did that differ in the programming? So you can ask all kinds of questions on the survey. I have a specific survey that I've created that you can download that has a bunch of these questions already listed out for you, and Kenny's going to drop the link in the comments section for you. And you can use these for any of your surveys, really. So I've already written it for you, so you don't really have to worry about it. But please download that and use that as much as you'd like to survey your audience. You can survey your audience through a variety of survey tools, things like SurveyMonkey, for example, or Typeform is another one that I particularly like. And you can survey them through your email marketing tools as well, such as MailChimp or Constant Contact. So we talked about gathering data on your ticket buyer forms, surveying your audience, and the other type of data that is sort of on the back end that we don't think about is really historical data of your ticket buyers. So the only way to really gather historical data for your ticket buyers is to have some sort of system like an online ticketing solution or a CRM that can track over time on a contact's record how many concerts they've been to, how much have they spent on tickets over time, how much did they spend for each particular concert. And that historical data you can kind of pull into a various set of reports that will just allow you to see sort of trends in your ticket sales. It's something that I don't think a lot of us spend time digging through and analyzing, but if you have an online ticketing solution, you have the data at your fingertips, and you could really use that to make smart decisions about programming and everything for your target audience. So those are just a few ways that you can gather the data about your target audience, get to know them, get to understand the makeup of your audience. And then the next step is, well, how do you use this data and implement it into your decision making so that they want to keep coming back for more, and that similar people that reflect your current audience that haven't bought tickets would want to buy tickets. So how do you implement this data into your decision making? So there's another another blog that I wrote that is pretty useful, I think, at helping you create what marketing professionals call buyer personas for your audience. And you're basically going to take the data, everything that you know about your audience, and create little stories about who these people are. So I'm just going to give you one example that is in this blog that Kenny will also link to. Let's say that you found out that a segment of your audience are parents that want to bring their family to choral concerts. And to build this buyer persona, you're going to say, okay, I have a segment of people who are in my audience who are parents. And you're going to start to ask yourself questions and sort of do a brainstorm of like, who are they? What are their likes? What are their wants? What are their needs? What are their challenges? What are parents facing in this world? Why do they come to choral concerts? And some of this is going to be assumption-based. You're going to make some assumptions. But if you start to brainstorm, you can start to build out these little stories or buyer personas. So I'll give you a quick example. The parent concert goers. They probably are trying to find some time, quality time to spend with their kids, and they want to plan exciting nights out together. That could be a reason why they come to a concert. Maybe they struggle to find time to spend with their kids because they're working and doing all the things that we all have to do, and they really struggle to find really quality time to spend with their kids. So that could be a challenge that they're facing. Taking that data, if you're thinking of attracting more parents to your concert, then you might say, well, what types of content can we create? What types of programming or opportunities can we create for them to want them to come to this concert? A few ideas could be, you write a blog about fun things to do this weekend with your kids. And one of the 10 things happens to be one of your concerts. You can also think through maybe some like places where you can advertise that will target these groups of people. For parents, that might be parenting groups on Facebook in your city. It could be PTA meetings. It could be parenting magazines that are local or parenting newsletters that are local. It could be a variety of parenting groups and communities that you find and research online. So you can also use what you know about them to think through where you're going to advertise, where you're going to spend your money to find more of these types of people. And even thinking outside of the box, you know, apart from advertising and things like that, if you have a big makeup of parents, you might find some other opportunities to engage with them outside of your concerts throughout the year. Things like parent night out you could host or something, or free childcare, we'll let you, hang out and listen to the arts and we'll take care of your kids, or, I'm just thinking outside of the box. But my point is that you can, once you start to build these buyer personas and these stories, you can come up with all kinds of ideas to engage them with your organization. So that's one example of a buyer persona. Other buyer persona examples might be, these are the old time concert goers who have been coming for a long time. I know they like the Bachs and the Mozarts and the Brahms and those kinds of works, and you can target them accordingly. Perhaps you write Bach-related memes and post them on social, or Bach-related blogs or videos about fun things you didn't know about Bach to engage them and keep that kind of audience engaged. So once you have your buyer personas, it could be one buyer persona, it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be as many as you want. But when you're planning for a concert, you want every decision you make, you should be asking yourself, is this what our target audience wants and needs? When you're creating a program, does this program make sense for our target audience? Are they going to want to listen to it? Are they going to want to see it? How about the venue? Is this venue accessible to the types of people that we're promoting it to, that are our target audience? What about the date and time? Is a matinee performance better for these types of people, or a weekend evening performance? And pricing too. Pricing matters because, depending on the group of people, they might be willing to buy tickets at a $10 price instead of a $75 price. So the whole point of this is that you really have to know your target audience on a deep level to understand what they want out of a choral performance, think through what you can offer them, and you're not only going to engage the current audience that you have, but you're also going to open up the door for other like-minded people who haven't come to a concert before, but are interested in the types of materials and content that you're putting out there. So I hope that I've convinced you a little bit that it's important to know who your audience is. You know how to gather some of this data now with your ticket buyer forms, your surveys, your historical data with ticket sales solutions. And you sort of have an idea maybe now of what you can do with this data and how you can put it into practice. Know your audience. That's my biggest takeaway for the night. So that's my number one fundamental. I have 5 total. The next one is have a plan for storing your contact data. Too often I see, a spreadsheet here, a spreadsheet there, paper forms all over the place about your, or from your ticket buyers. And what you really want is a centralized location for storing all of this data so that you can pull it in reports and analyze it and think about your target audience. So my first suggestion to everyone here is that you think through all of the different ways that you currently gather contact information. Someone buys a ticket at the door, that's one point. Someone buys a ticket in rehearsal, that's another point. Someone buys a ticket over the phone. Someone mails in a ticket order. And you do that through all of the ways that you gather contact information. Same thing with donations. When someone donates online, where does that data go? When someone donates in the mail, where does that data go? So really think through every point of your process and make sure that every time you're gathering data, either online or offline, that it goes into the same place. And there's all kinds of different places that you can store this information. And some people have several systems that sort of talk to each other. Some people have one system where they store everything. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the different systems that you can use to gather this data and store this data. The first thing is what we call a CRM in businesses. CRMs are things like Salesforce, and their main job is to store contact information and activities for contacts. So if you have, really, it's a contact database when you think about it. So you could get a CRM, make sure that all of your ticket buyer forms, your donor forms, all of that stuff, all the contact information you're getting is going in there, and you know that you have all of your contacts in one place, all of their emails in one place, and all of their activity in one place. That's really the point of a CRM. Some people will also have, or separately, have a donor management system. Some of these are also considered CRMs. But their main purpose is to store contact information and donation information. Some donor management systems will integrate with your ticket management systems and also show what tickets people have bought. So donor management systems are things like Kindful, Patron Manager, those kinds of systems. Another system you might have to store data is your email marketing system. And this is their job is to really store contact and email information and make it easier for you to send emails to people. Email marketing systems are things like MailChimp, Emma, Constant Contact, Vertical Response, all of that. Some CRMs and some donor management systems either integrate with an email marketing system or they have their own way to communicate with your contacts. Either one works. Another system you might use is a ticket sales system. A ticket sales system, the purpose is storing contact information, but with a focus on the ticket sales that people buy. Ticket sales systems are things like Eventbrite. Course Connection also just launched a new ticketing feature, which we're very excited about. There's also others out there like Brown Paper Tickets, for example. So that their focus, again, is really thinking about the ticket buyer. Other systems you might want to collect information and possibly store information would be the survey features or web forms, things like SurveyMonkey, Typeform, Google Forms. Those are all pretty basic in terms of their functionality, but they're all digital. You can keep all the data in one place and you can collect the data at one time. So those are also acceptable. I know there's a lot of systems out there, and to be honest, I have not found any system that does everything perfectly. So the best advice that I can give is make sure that you find one system that really is going to be your main central house for data, and try to find other systems that complement it. Hopefully they'll integrate, or at least they'll be able to, you'll easily be able to export the data and import it into another system. So I can't stress this enough, but just having the system and having a place and making sure every time you get contact information, it goes in that one place is going to be super crucial for you to be successful at communicating with your audience. So that's my number 2. My number 3 is that anytime you have a ticket buyer, that you are ready and you know how you're going to analyze where that ticket buyer came from. We call it acquisition analysis or marketing sources. So many people will say, you know, oh, we ask our ticket buyers where they found out about us. So that's the kind of data that we're trying to collect when we say acquisition analysis. So, sorry, I'm pausing because this is a very complicated thing, and I know that it's going to feel very overwhelming, but I'm going to try to break it down very simply for you. The way that you can analyze how successful your marketing spend is on anything ticket sales related is to really make sure that everything you do has a way to track it. It's as simple as that. You really don't want to waste money on marketing channels that aren't bringing you traffic to your website, that aren't resulting in ticket sales. You want to spend all your money in the channels that you know are going to get you ticket buyers in the door. And so I've kind of narrowed this down to 3 ways to track this information. The first is simple. It's to ask your buyers. So ask your audience members in the lobby, where'd you hear about us? Ask them on your ticket buyer forums, where did you hear about us? Ask them in your surveys that you send them, where did you hear about us? And this is not a perfect solution for figuring this out, but it's the bare minimum what you can do to start to understand where your ticket buyers are coming from. So that's very simple, just ask. There's 2 very specific ways that you can get really accurate answers as to where your ticket buyers came from. The first one is pretty easy if you have an online ticketing solution. It's promo or discount codes. So anytime you launch a flyer that is promoting your concert, or an email, or a digital ad, you could put specific program codes, different ones, for each of those things. And then you'll be able to monitor and analyze how many people use that discount code. So I know that my flyers that we posted had the promo code 10% off, whatever the promo code is. That's a really lame promo code. Please don't use it. Promo code. But I know that anyone who used that promo code saw us because of that flyer. And you can do this for any channel you want. And don't worry about the discount that you're offering them. Just do something simple, 10%. You know, it's worth the discount if you can really analyze where everyone found out about you. So that's one way that you can track it per marketing channel that you have. And probably the most effective way, but probably the most complex, is to do tracking links for every single marketing channel that you have. So a tracking link is a very specific, unique URL that you post, that you change, depending on each marketing channel that you have. So let's say that I have an email blast number 1, and I have a digital ad that's going to the newspaper that links back to our website, and I have another email blast that's not going out through us, but going out through another organization to their subscribers. So I have 3 different channels that I'm using. I would basically create a URL link for my ticketing page on the website that has a tracking code essentially enabled on it for each one of those channels, so that when they use the link, when they click on the link, I'm able to see how many times people clicked on the link for each of those channels separately. And the way that you can do this, it's relatively simple if you know how to do it, and I have a great blog on this that'll walk you through the details on exactly how to do this. The first step is setting up a Google Analytics account if you don't have one. So research how to set up a Google Analytics account. There's going to be a little tiny code that you're supposed to put on your website. You're going to have to probably talk to your web team or your developer to put that on your website. And then that's just going to basically give you reports for anyone visiting your website and visiting the pages. And if you don't have a Google Analytics account, even if you don't do tracking links, please get one and start tracking this data. It's really, really fascinating to learn about all of the people visiting your website. And then once you have your Google Analytics account and you have your ticket pages up and running, you're going to use a tool called Google's URL Builder. I'm going to ask Kenny to also drop that in the comments section. And Google's URL Builder basically takes your ticket page link and you say, okay, this is going to be for an email with this organization. And it creates a unique link for you that you can then use for each of your channels. So that's how you'll create the links. And then anytime you do a specific advertising, your piece, a new channel, a new print piece, a new digital piece, you can go and create these links for each one. And then that way, and then put it on each campaign or each channel, excuse me. And that way, when any one of them gets clicked on, you'll be able to see exactly which channel and which medium brought in the traffic to your website. So I know that sounds super complicated. Like I said, I have a blog that writes it up step by step for you that we're going to drop in the comments. I'm always happy to help answer some questions for this. What I'd like you to think about is all of the different marketing channels you have. Do you use email marketing? Do you buy print advertising? Do you buy digital advertising on somebody else's website? Do you buy emails from other organizations that they blast out to their subscribers? What are all the different channels that you use? And just make a list. Start to make a list. And then start to create these tracking links. And it can be simple at first. You could do it just, okay, I use Arts Boston in Boston to send emails to subscribers, and I could just say anything Arts Boston related. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be on their event calendar. It could be an email blast. It could be an ad with them. I'm just going to label it Arts Boston. I don't care about whether it was the email or the web ad that brought it in. You could keep it super simple like that and just narrow it down to where people are coming from. But you can also get really, really specific and do it for every single ad that you do. And that way, when you are looking at how much money you're spending on marketing, you can say, okay, we spent $300 on this email ad, and it generated 5 click-throughs to our website. And then you can start to really say, this doesn't sound like a place that is worth spending our money. Let's try a new one and test that with a unique URL and see if that produces more traffic. The reason why I think this is so important is it can literally save you thousands of dollars. It has saved me thousands of dollars. This last year, have been putting a unique tracking link in every free calendar posting we put up, every ad that we bought. And what I found was that many of them were not generating any traffic. So we ditched a lot of it. And we still sold out our houses, and we put that money in other marketing tools that we knew were going to be more effective. So please think about analyzing your data and consider at least promo codes for some of your campaigns to see if they work, and tracking links if you have the time and willingness to try them out. Awesome, that's all I'm going to say on that. So we've talked now about knowing your target market, storing your data, and tracking where your ticket buyers are coming from. The next two are super easy. I know all of you guys are going to be experts on this. Number 4 is communicate with your audience. It sounds so fundamental, but let's talk to them. You have the data, you have their contact information. It's stored so nicely in one of your systems, in your email marketing system, and oh, it's glorious. Let's use the tools now to communicate with them. You'll need your email marketing tool in place, and you'll need to make sure that anytime you're gathering that contact information, that it gets over to your email marketing platform that can communicate out to your ticket buyers. So what are you going to send them? You're going to send them obviously emails like you do about any performance coming up, any event that the chorus is doing that's open to the public, any fundraiser for your chorus that you're doing. But you'll notice that those types of messaging are all asks. You're asking them to do something. You're asking them to buy or donate or come to your event. And you're not really providing a lot of value from that. So one other takeaway that I would love everyone to think about is how can we communicate with our audience in ways that are helpful to them, relevant to them, exciting to them, thinking about your target audience, that isn't always asking them to buy or asking them to donate. I mentioned a few ideas before. You could do a video or a blog or an email about learn more about Bach and his secret passions. I don't know. You could do something fun where you do video interviews with your members and they talk about how they love choral arts and how it's impacted their lives. You could do videos or a blog on your artistic director. But again, I would really think about who your target audience is, what's going to interest them, and try to create content in your email marketing and your social channels and all that that is going to be exciting and interesting to them. If you have that group of parent concert goers, talk about fun things parents can do in the city, or, talk about, it doesn't even have to be concert related. It could just be like how to save more time and be more efficient as a parent and spend more time with your kids. And then maybe a list of fun activities they could do with their kids. You can really, once you start to brainstorm, you can really think of some amazing content that will excite your audience that isn't always asking them to buy tickets from you. So I would encourage, in marketing, we have the 75-25 rule where you actually only promote about 25% of the time. You're asking for money or buying tickets 25% of the time. The other 75% of the time, you're sending fun, engaging, relevant, helpful information to them. If you're more advanced, if you're here and you already are like, oh, we communicate with our audience perfectly, we're great. Another step that you could take, if you want, is to segment your audience by the buyer personas that you created earlier. So if you have your parents, you have your millennial crew, you've got your people who have been coming to concerts for 70 years, you can create specific emails or marketing campaigns to target each of those people. And if you've, in your contact database, have listed which buyer persona each of those contacts fit into, then you can really segment your emails out to cater to each of those audiences and be even more effective at bringing them into your concerts. So that's an extra step that you can take if you've kind of mastered everything already and want to keep moving forward. So number 4 is communicate with your audience. And number 5 goes very much along the same lines, which is just engage your audience. Engage them in all the ways that you can throughout the year, not just with concerts. I wrote another blog about this called 8 Tips for Engaging and Retaining Your Patrons. Kenny's going to put that in the comments for you. But the key to selling more tickets, to getting people more invested in your organization all around, is to build your community and to make them feel a part of your community. I have several tips in that blog that, or ideas in that blog that you can use. I'll mention a few of them now. Consistently get their feedback. Again, surveying them, meeting with them, talking with them one-on-one. Get to know them, make their feedback and opinions feel heard and valued. It's one great way to include them in your community. You can host events and receptions and food. I mean, just provide people with food and they'll be happy. I mean, that's one thing that I've learned in life. Just give people food and they'll be happy. They'll keep coming back for more, trust me. That's another way you can engage them, is to have an event where you just meet with them one-on-one and give them free food. Continue to create relevant, helpful content, blogs, videos, emails, social posts that really excite them and make them feel like they know you and that you're friends with them because you understand them and you're giving them content that they need and want. You can share musical opportunities with them. Perhaps you might want to invite some of your audience members to an open rehearsal or other music making opportunities, such as like a beer choir event, or I've heard it recently of choiroke. So there's all kinds of fun things you can do to get them involved in the music making process. You could also if your artistic director is willing to experiment, you could also include them in the decision-making process for your programming throughout the year, giving people the opportunities to vote on which program you produce. I mean, I know that's a wild idea, but that will make them feel more invested in the decision that you make, and they'll come to the concert because they helped influence that decision. So there's all kinds of fun ideas you can do to get them involved with the music making and even music decision process. Keep them posted on any volunteer opportunities you have on the website, in emails, in social. Try to get as many of them involved on the volunteer side and get to know them through your volunteer management. As many one-on-one reach outs as you can individually to thank them for coming to the performance. Meet them in the lobby, write notes and leave them on their seats, call them after the performance, write an individual email to them after the performance to thank them for coming. I know that we're all volunteer-led organizations that don't have a lot of time to do these things, but those are the things that people are going to remember. Every time I go to a concert and someone has left me like a handwritten note on my seat, I'm like, that is so special and so nice, and it's going to help them remember you, think of you as family. They'll really feel like they're a part of your community that way. So key takeaway from this is keep them posted on what's going on in your choral community, not just with buying things, and really make them feel like they're a part of it. Don't just make them feel like they're a part of it. They are a part of it, and we should be treating them in the same way that we treat our members. They're a part of our choral community, and they help us be successful. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up with the key takeaways here. Know your audience. Everything you do should revolve around what your audience wants and needs. Create buyer personas and make your decisions based around your buyer personas. Store and integrate your data as much as possible. Make sure everything's in one place. Ticket sales solutions, CRMs, and email marketing platforms are key for doing this. 3, track the success of your marketing channels and sources. Use UTM tracking, Google Analytics. They're your friends, I promise. 4, know how to communicate with your audience. Keep communicating with them year-round with not just asks for buying things, but also relevant content. 5, keep them engaged in every single aspect of your community, not just your concerts. Keep them engaged along the way with everything that the chorus is doing. And my last key takeaway is that we didn't cover a lot of is, well, what marketing channels work and that kind of thing. And the key here is that everybody who's involved with the ticket sales process should become a marketing expert. You should know the basic fundamentals of marketing in the business sense that you can apply to your nonprofit. So I have another great thing. Gosh, I'm so confident about my stuff. I have a book that you can download. It's the Choral Marketing 101 ebook. It really does walk you through the fundamentals of marketing, and it does have some advanced stuff for you advanced people. And so read it. That can be your marketing Bible. You know, it's gold. It should give you everything you need to know to think through how to be successful